Well, had I known this, that Rampage was starting at a special start time, I would have done Rampage first. But either way, Rampage, for those who might not be aware, Rampage is starting at 6:30 Eastern Time due to the NHL Playoffs. So it is a special start time this week for Rampage. Again, Rampage was preempted last week and was on Saturday, but it is it is not preempted. It is tonight, but not at its normal start time at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It is instead at 6:30 Eastern Time, and that means that it will run 6:30 to 7:30. So instead of watching SmackDown and then AEW, you will watch AEW then SmackDown. So anybody worried about missing AEW or missing anything about the WWE draft, you don't have to worry about that, as AEW is on first tonight. And AEW does have a big show tonight, which will feature the Outcasts as one of the main selling points of the show tonight, as you will hear from the Outcasts tonight on Rampage. And if that wasn't enough, you will also hear from Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, the Acclaimed, alongside Billy Gunn, as I believe this might be the first time we've heard from the Acclaimed since they were beaten down by the JAS a couple of weeks ago. Naturally Limitless, Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee will be in tag team action tonight as well. Anna Jay will be in action against Ashley D'Ambrose and Boyce. Not Ambrose, Amboise. Cash Wheeler and Jay Lethal, which is a follow-up to Jeff Jarrett versus Dax Harwood from Dynamite. I could see maybe next week on Dynamite the tag team of Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett against FTR. I could see the tag team titles being on the line next week on Dynamite. Or at the next Battle of the Belts, if that's something that's going to be happening next month. But also, Double or Nothing is happening next month, and FTR needed challengers. They need challengers. Does FTR for their for Double or Nothing next month? So it's possible that Jarrett and Jay Lethal could be their challengers next month. But also, Ricky Starks and Sean Spears will be teaming up against Bullet Club Gold. Jay White and Juice Robinson. For those who may, I just want to put this out here now. For those who may think that Jay White's booking since joining AEW has been weak, nobody knows who Jay White is on a national scale in America, or the amount of people that know who Jay White is in America is not as much as you think. Because not everybody watches New Japan, not everybody cares about New Japan just because they're a wrestling fan, and I think more than anything else, AEW fans watch AEW, and that is typically it. So there are people that don't know who Jay White is, and that AEW is booking Jay White the way they're booking Jay White to introduce him to the audience, and not have the expectation where everybody's going to know who Jay White is, and that Jay White deserves to be challenging MJF for the world title. He doesn't. He doesn't deserve to be challenging MJF for the world title. Number one, there's nothing wrong with the Four Pillars being the champions, or challenging the champion. Number two, putting Jay White in the TNT title picture would be a horrible mistake, because the TNT title right now is the TNT title picture right now is a mess without a clear direction. So putting him in a division without a clear direction would be a mistake for a major signing like Jay White. It would be a horrible mistake. So putting him in a tag team with somebody he has a history with strengthens the tag team division, gives them instant credibility because people know the Bullet Club. People know that Jay White was the leader of the Bullet Club. That's what Jay White is known for. Number one. And number two, If you want to, in a year, put him up in the world title picture and slowly bring him forward where it's not MJF that he's challenging, which is the other reason why Jay White doesn't belong in the world title picture. Because why would you put Jay White in the title picture if you want to put Jay White as a heel? Why would you put him in a title picture against a heel? You know, you wait until like babyface is the champion, maybe like a Kenny Omega. Can you imagine if, I'm just going to put it out there, imagine Omega as the world champion again, and Omega versus Jay White for the world title. Jay White is under contract with AEW. He is not under contract with New Japan. His contract with New Japan expired earlier this year, so there's no reason to rush into doing certain matches with Jay White just because he's under contract with AEW. There's absolutely no reason to rush into doing certain matches with Jay White just because he's all of a sudden under contract with AEW. There's no reason to rush to do things. You know, they have plenty of time to do whatever the heck they want to do because Jay White's not going anywhere. You know, it's that simple. Jay White is not going anywhere. Putting him in a tag team, again, putting him in a tag team with somebody he has credibility with and history with, and it's knowledge, you know, normal knowledge that they are Bullet Club, or credible, you know, there's credible knowledge that they are Bullet Club, that it gives him credibility. It gives him credibility that he didn't have right out of the gate. It gives him the opportunity to ease into a position in a new company, and it gives him the opportunity to be somebody that he wasn't in New Japan. It's that simple. It's that simple. And I'm not going to rip apart Jay White anymore. I'm going to instead move to the Outcast, as I would like to see the Outcast continue down the road that they're going, as long as the road that they're going is with women that had not been getting the opportunity before. What do I mean? Like, I don't want to just see Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter fighting against the odds against Saraya, Ruby Soho, and Toni Storm. Willow Nightingale, Riho, Willow Nightingale, it's not good that I can't remember any other women in the women's division for AEW. Nasty cut on the face of Kevin Owens. But other women that have not been getting the attention that they deserve. Because how do you expect them to get better? How do you expect them to get more attention? How do you expect them to get more interest in themselves if you don't show interest in them? I love what they're doing because it makes sense, it's logical, and it makes sense. But the fact of the matter is, it's something that they need to understand that the fans will not be aware of if simplicity and consistency is what the company is going for. What I mean by that is, if they keep going with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker and just going the one route, if they keep going the one route and not, changing things up, that's the word, sorry, and not changing things up, it will make it harder to keep the feud going and keep the Outcast as one of the more interesting parts of AEW. I'm not saying that Jamie Hayter, as the world champion, should not be defending her division and members of her division. I'm not saying that. I do firmly believe that she should be, but also you need to have other women in the division, and you also need to have Jade Cargill having her challengers. Like Taya Valkyrie should not be a part of the Outcast feud if she's going to be feuding with. If she's going to be feuding with. If she's going to be feuding with Jade Cargill. But what about Shida? I mean, honestly, I think Shida would be one of the perfect people to be included in the thing because Shida had that history with had a history with them, specifically Tony Storm and Saraya, and is an AEW original, so she should be a part of it. And also, again, I think I asked this question the last time we saw Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee. What about the Mogul affiliates? What about Keith Lee versus Shane Strickland? As this seems to be a feud that AEW has lost interest in. And the question is it a feud that's going to be going anywhere? I guess we'll find out tonight. With that being said, though, that is it for me and your preview for Rampage. I will see you in the next one.